Welcome into episode 53 of the Level Flight podcast. I've got Brian and Elliot here with me today. And if you're on YouTube or you've checked out our social media the last couple days, you'll see the rebrand, the new logo. If you haven't already, go check it out at Level Flight WPG. Let us know your thoughts. But guys, how are we feeling? Rebrand, episode 53, rolling through the season.
Yeah, it was a lot of deliberation over the last couple weeks of us figuring out where we wanted to take the logo because, we hit a year. We hit our 50th episode. Like, you're hitting those milestones, and we're like, this seems like the time that we want to trust in things. And no, we were excited to put something together, and we sat for like an hour or two just coming up with, ideas. And then we ended up going with something that was made like fairly early in the process that we kind of just shoved to the back, and we're like, wait a minute, this looks kind of good. Let's tweak this a little. And here we are. But no, it's been an exciting few days here announcing this, and got a lot of support, and we appreciate that greatly.
Yeah, I'm super excited by the logo. Like Brian said, this was one of the first versions of our logo that we created. And we kind of just went, well, we can't go with this right now. Maybe I love how we said we would do this in a couple of years. And fellas, it's been a year. I think our timeline's a little bit off. But either way, super proud of the logo. Shout out Brian. I'm not going to say he's you're pretty good at. I was going to say you're the GOAT at graphic design.
Pretty good. You're all right.
You're really good. That's not an understatement.
Hey,
you're really, you're really good. You also have a lot more experience than I do. I think I sat there and gave some pretty generic ideas. I wish I had my sketchbook here because God, that was awful. But either way, really proud of what we've got here. And we appreciate the support from everybody. And we're just excited to get ready into this episode. I think it's time to go.
Yeah. It's been a fun couple days. I will say you're right, Elliot, because I was making logos as we were doing this brainstorming session. And like what I was trying to get to was what Brian made and our new logo like a year and a half ago. So yeah, I just was like,
I was just really far ahead of things, I guess.
Yeah. I was like getting there. I was tweaking it. It was like LFP. I was like, what's the right font? And then Brian's like, oh, we used this logo like a year ago. And I'm like, yeah, that's like perfect. That's exactly.
We scrolled up in our chat and we're like, oh, it's this.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, like you said, let's get into this episode. 3 games happened since our last one. They lost to Vegas, beat Arizona, and then last night beat St. Louis with an impressive win. I don't know if we want to spend too much time on the Vegas game. They lost this one. Special teams were once again a factor. Vegas looked really good. Vegas lost their first game actually on Sunday night against Anaheim, of all teams.
Didn't know that could happen.
One of the hottest teams in the league out of nowhere. But yeah, the Jets lost to Vegas. I don't know if you guys have any sweeping takeaways from this one. If not, the other 2 games I feel deserve a little bit more airtime.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's one of those ones where 1, it was a loss that didn't have a whole lot of good in it. And 2, it was like a full week ago by the time this is coming out. So
yeah.
I feel like it's kind of been pushed to the back, especially once you have 2 straight wins, especially of scoring 5 goals.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's get into that Arizona game. That Vegas game, I mean, tough loss. Vegas is good. That's kind of what you chalk it up to. Like, I don't really. Road game, start of a road trip, whatever.
I mean, when you start the way that the Jets did, it's kind of hard to expect a win in that one, but
rough start. Yeah, that is a theme that we've been following. But I guess it carried over into the Arizona game. That first period was rough from the Jets' perspective. They started off in a 1-0 deficit. The first period, I think they had 4 shots on goal. Just wasn't a good start. And then Nino Niederreiter and Brendan Dillon pull them out of the trenches and carry the Jets to victory. Brendan Dillon, I mean, firstly on this game, I just want to talk about the game winner, the goal that gave them the 4-3 lead late in the third. Just Appleton with a spinning pass. Brendan Dillon steps into one and goes posting in over the blocker of Vejmelka. Just an unbelievable shot, unbelievable game from Brendan Dillon. And the third line, obviously Niederreiter kept cooking, but they're still rolling. Brendan Dillon with one of the best offensive games of his career. I don't really know who predicted that, but I will say fun to watch nonetheless. Brian, what were your sweeping takeaways from this one? Or Elliot.
No,
sorry.
we're good. No, I had to mute there because my neighbor is a menace and doesn't stop coughing.
If you've seen on Brian's Twitter.
I didn't look at our chat and I was like, you didn't look ready. Whatever. Elliot can go if you're not. Yeah.
No, we're good now. He stopped for the time being.
I hope you didn't hit the wall or something, but
we're getting to that point. But no, it was one of those, like, if you would have told me that all 5 goals came from a combo of Brendan Dillon and Nino Niederreiter, I would ask you, did Nino score 5 goals?
Yes.
And I truly, especially too, like, first one, it wasn't overly remarkable, but that second just absolute rocket from the circle was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it was that, and then it's also a nice little development. We don't know. It's probably not going to continue. He's never been an offensive guy, but if you're getting the occasional goal from Brendan Dillon, that is just massive for the back end.
Yeah. It's, if may I add, that looked a little Josh Morrissey-esque with the step
Definitely.
in. So I know they're both left-handed shot D, and it's, maybe they've been working on it together. Maybe Brendan's been asking for some tips. I don't know. But when you have a guy who just last night, if you're watching the game, the broadcast, they do that interview with Brendan Dillon where he's got to talk about, what goalie, He even said, not really any goalie has my number. I only have 25 or 26 career goals. Right. Yeah. So for him to score 2 in a game, I think he said Hellebuck because in practice but still at the same point, he scored like 25 or 26 goals. Don't quote me on it. I'm quoting him. Don't quote me on it. So I thought that the Jets didn't start out well in the first period. And then I thought they looked better as the game went on, which I think that they need to stop this bad first period start because it seems to keep happening in all, like, I will say it's happened in some of their losses, but it's also happened in some of their wins. So fine, if you want to start bad against Arizona, sure, you'll probably still come out the better team on the other end. But there are going to be nights where you may need those 2 points late in the year because it's a Central Division battle. And if you're not going to start well in the first period against a Colorado, a Dallas, or whoever, like a couple other teams in the Pacific too, Vegas, you're not going to win games. You got to at least come out and be competitive. That Vegas first period, and I would even say the Arizona first period, the Jets didn't look competitive. Obviously, they took over the game in the second and third period in the Arizona game, but you're not going to be able to do that against every opponent. Teams like Vegas are going to score once or twice and then shut the game completely down, and you've got nothing, and then you can't generate any momentum. So for them, I think it's good that they came back in the second and third, but at the same point, you need to at least put up a somewhat productive first period.
Yeah, I agree that the first period starts were a concern, and they still kind of are. But that St. Louis game, they come out flying. We can kind of transition into that now. I don't really have anything else from the Arizona game, except for, I will add, the special teams actually came alive in this one. It carried over into the St. Louis game that we're about to talk about, but Nino scored the goal on the power play. The penalty kill looked a lot better. They gave up a goal with like 3 seconds left on one of the kills, but the penalty kill did look better and was suppressing chances at a higher rate than they usually do. So that was a good sign. And then St. Louis, good start. Alex Iafallo ends the game with 4 assists. The power play wakes up. They went 2 for 3, I believe. And just one of the best games I think the Jets have played all year, start to finish. Just St. Louis, I never really felt was in it, except for a few kind of erratic Connor Hellebuck saves where he just found himself in the corner just randomly. But I will say, start to finish, probably one of the best 60-minute efforts in the entire season to this point. Would you agree, Brian?
I would say so. Like, it was just one of those things where you saw the sort of resolutions of issues that we've been talking about for weeks. And obviously it's the Blues are a bit of a weaker opponent, so you have to take care of business against those weaker division teams. But if there's a way that they can use the results from this game to carry over, that's exactly what they need, because they got, as you said, they got the power play production. I think they went 2 for 3. Two power. I don't recall the last time I've seen them score 2 power play goals, even stretching back to last year. But then you also, the top line, the fact that I've been talking about how they have yet to get going in Velarde's absence. And then suddenly last night, like, you get 3 points from both Connor and Scheifele, and then 4 assists from Alex Iafallo. That's, you need it from your top line. Like, I'm not sure it continues, but the fact that you got it finally was nice, because the last few games it's been carried by the other lines.
Yeah, I think that overall, like Connor said, I think that they looked really good for all 60 minutes. I like the pressure they put on. I will say, when St. Louis did make it 2-1, it was a little interesting there for a minute, because they scored directly after the second goal. But other than that, but St. Louis doesn't look threatening. We posted our graphic yesterday. If you haven't checked it out or checked out our social medias, like we've talked about, you should. But when you look at the expected goals for St. Louis, they don't generate anything. They play a very quiet and calming, or well, not calming, but quiet and boring game.
It's not calming for any one of their fans watching the game.
No, it's not at all.
Yeah, continue.
That's why they're just singing in the seats.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, down 4-1, singing Country Road. Yeah, good idea. I'm pretty sure they were doing the wave in the third period too.
Well,
when they were
I was also singing My Own Worst Enemy. So
I was about to ask, what is worse, doing the wave in like a tie game, or like singing Country Roads Take Me Home down 4-1 in the second period when your team's getting blown out? I don't know.
Start the bus.
The wave we're at home. Is still worse. The wave feels like a curse. I feel like the people singing Country Roads are they're just trying to have fun amidst just miserable games. So you know what? Power to them. But I'm sorry. I have a genuine hatred for the wave. So that's my answer.
Wow.
I'm with you on that.
Wow, you both hate the wave?
Fan.
I'm not a big wave guy, but I don't hate it.
There's a time and a place. We don't need to get into the wave discourse, but like when the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are up 30 points in the middle of the season and
you're feeling good,
go crazy. When it's a tie game and down the stretch, or they're like down by 3 and the offense has the ball and we're doing the wave, it's like, what are we doing? But I don't know. I think there's a time and a place. Anyways, back to St.
Louis. I thought that Connor Hellebuyck did not have his best game of the year. He did not look Connor Hellebuyck-esque. He looked too much like a Marc-Andre Fleury or a more erratic goaltender, which is not who he is. And so him getting away from that scared me a little bit. But again, like I said, St. Louis didn't really generate anything, so there wasn't too much. But the first line production is really good to see. I also like that. Yes, I know Kyle Connor scored twice, but they were 2 different goals. One of his power play goal, I don't even think he was I know guys are shooting the puck to try to score, but I genuinely don't think that he was trying to put anything harmless on. He was just trying to put something on net, and it just ended up going past. It went past Binnington. But realistically, other than that, I liked that the power play looked a little bit better. I know, yes, the puck went in, so it feels like it did better. But the last 2 games, I love that they've been moving the puck around. Scheifele's been getting it behind the net. He's been not just looking for whoever's on the half wall. He's been trying to look for Iafallo out in front. Iafallo's been better about being in front of the net and trying to screen. So I think that first unit has been better. Obviously, the second unit carried in the Arizona game, but it was good to see the first line and the first unit also try different things to try to score, other than trying to just get one-timers and just shoot the puck on net. Like Scheifele scoring the first goal of the game in front of the net felt good, because it was. I
wanted to bring that up. Yeah, that's a play we haven't really seen, and it's refreshing, because Iafallo kind of walks out from under the goal line, and Scheifele's driving to the back post, for like a tap in for a one-timer, and he gets it and he's open. And it's like, I feel like in their slump, it was just stagnant. And like Iafallo might have stepped out right there and he had no option but to fire it right into the goaltender's chest, who has the angle on him, right? Seeing a player drive the back post and having Iafallo fire a perfect pass. Like I just think that's something, like we said, moving the puck, moving bodies. That's something like just go to the net. It seems simple, simplify things, and it worked. And it worked in this game. And Kyle Connor, shoot the puck. Like Cole Perfetti was screening. It was lucky. It got deflected. It still went in. But again, Kyle Connor shooting the puck, moving bodies. Cole Perfetti's kind of screening. It's just things that it didn't look like a top 10 power play in the league, but like you said, the numbers kind of help that out a little bit. But it looks like they're taking the right steps. They're moving people, moving the puck, and that net drive from Scheifele on the first goal was refreshing, to say the least.
I think it's refreshing because it opens up, hopefully, if this continues, other ways for that line to keep generating offense. Like, here's the other thing. Yes, if he misses that tap in, I'm not going to use the word, but you know what? I'd be mad, right? There's a different word that I would use there. But I would be
frustrated.
Yeah. I'd be very frustrated, but at least he's doing something other than trying to stand at the circle and take one-timers, right? He's trying to drive the net. He had another play later, I believe it was in the third period, where he picked up a loose puck and he drove to the net, put his shoulder down, put his stick out, and he was trying to, he did that. Like, that was Mark Scheifele. Yes, I know he's a bigger bodied center, but he doesn't always him and Kyle Connor don't always like contact. And I love that he picked up the puck and didn't try to okay, I'm 1-on-2 here by myself. The rest of my guys, I think there was a change happening. I think Iafallo and Kyle Connor went to the bench, and he didn't just either, fine, if you wanted to pull it out and try to hold the puck to hold possession, fine. But I just didn't want him to start dancing around and trying to make a bunch of moves and then lose the puck. And then St. Louis is coming the other way with speed. But he put his shoulder down and drove his shoulder into the defender and tried to drive to the net on Binnington, which I thought was another thing. That's also generating offense, because then at least if that puck is closer to the net, it's shot, saved by Binnington, at least that then goes to the corner. You're not dumping the puck in and just giving up possession and going for a change. You're at least giving yourself an opportunity to keep possession and to keep getting other chances generated.
Yeah, I agree. And I haven't checked the stats since, but I checked around the 8-game mark on Scheifele's defensive numbers. I don't know if they've improved, but I will say he's looked he looks more motivated. He looks like he's on a mission. I kind of agree with that.
He looks engaged.
He looks engaged. And that play you brought up caught my eye as well. Him lowering the shoulder. I honestly thought you could have called a trip on that play because he kind of got hauled down and then kept going. But he looks motivated. That's something you haven't really seen out of Scheifele. And then it was the Neal Pionk goal, which I want to talk about more in a second. But for Scheifele on this goal, the puck gets chipped out, and Brendan Dillon steps up and lays a hit on Jordan Kyrou. And Scheifele is filling. It's like pee-wee hockey stuff. If you're a center, this is what you're taught to do. Defenseman pitches, you're filling for him. Because if the puck gets chipped by, that's your responsibility, right? And he's right on it. He's right there. Lifts the stick, gets it to Pionk. They quickly transition, enter the zone. And then eventually that puck ends up back on Mark Scheifele's stick, and he fires a pass, cross seam to Pionk. Pionk scores. And I'm like, the butterfly effect of him back checking, lifting the stick, transitioning quickly, and then being able to make a play in the offensive zone. I just feel like these are things we haven't really seen from Scheifele.
And I hope he continues to do that. And he notices, look what, I want either Bonus or Arneal to look at him and go, look what just happened when you back checked and made a defensive play. Look, I want him to do the thing you do with kids all the time when they don't listen, and then they finally do what you've asked them to do, and then you go, look what happens when you do that, right? I want them to point out and go, if you play defense, you're either going to get an assist, you're going to get the puck back, or you're at least going to keep being in the offensive zone because you're making good plays. No, I thought Scheifele, and then you thought he should have gotten a penalty on the drive. I'm pretty sure he did drive the net earlier and got a hooking call, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Okay.
There was another point in the game where he drove and drew a penalty. I thought actually that besides the first line, I actually think Mark Scheifele looked the best out of him, and Iafallo looked the best out of the three.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about that Neal Pionk goal, given what he's been through the past week, 10 days. I'll start with you, Brian. I mean, how nice was it to see, him score the goal was one thing, but then on the bench, Nikolai Ehlers and Dylan DeMello clearly like consoling him, letting him know, like, we know this means a lot to you. Just how nice was that moment to see for Neal Pionk?
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know and who didn't see,
it's good to add context. Good call.
The Adam Johnson was a groomsman at his wedding, and Adam Johnson obviously was the player who tragically lost his life over in England with the skate accident there. And so he was a groomsman at Pionk's wedding, and Pionk did an interview a little bit ago, and he was saying that he didn't know someone could cry so hard as he has.
Yeah.
And the Jets did a really nice thing too, and flew him and the other Minnesota guys to the celebration of life, and they came back for the game in St. Louis. So seeing him score, first of all, a gorgeous goal, and then to come back to the bench and have his teammates draped around him and giving them the support was just beautiful. And it was one of those things where contextually you wish it wasn't as heartbreaking as it was, but it's got to be so hard on him. And seeing him be able to celebrate and have his teammates there for him was it was really touching.
Yeah, it was really nice to see. I completely echo everything you said there. Alex Iafallo was also one of the players that was chartered to his funeral and celebration of life. He had the 4-assist game. Like, that's a career game for him. That must feel great for him as well. All those players that were chartered and then are all of a sudden thrown into a hockey game the next day, which is obviously secondary to everything they've been going through the last week. That just must take so much mental and physical strength. I can't even imagine. And to see Neal Pionk score his first goal of the season. Again, this is secondary to everything he's been through, but I think he's played the best 2 games of the season, these last 2 games. Whether or not like it's extra motivation or whatever, he's playing his heart out, and it's his best way of coping is just giving it all on the ice. I'm not sure, but he's been great. That goal was really nice to see, and I know we're all happy for Neal Pionk because I'm sure that 100%. Meant a lot to him. Yeah, I guess if you want to add anything, Elliot, or
no, I think that just quickly, I think that was really cool. You can't imagine any of the things that we've heard him say. I don't like. I actually would have not blamed him if he had wanted to step away from the team for a while. And for him to continue playing, I think that shows a lot of mental strength. So I applaud him for his mental strength and for him having played really well the last 2 games. I'm hoping it wasn't extra motivation for all of that, but I do hope that he has he will kind of figure it out and I don't want to say move forward. That's not the right way to put it, but I'm hoping that he can, if he has to speak to somebody about it, but if he can move forward, and hopefully I'm also hoping that everything that's happened and how the entire hockey world has taken this, it means more people wear neck guards as a safety precaution. I really do hope that, and I'm glad also that Neal is wearing one as well. And we have also heard other Jets are wearing them. Moose players are wearing them. We've heard what TJ Oshie has had to say. But yeah, I'm hoping that Neal wearing one coming back, hopefully that is a spark for everybody else on the team at some point to wear one as well, because it's a tragic way to lose somebody, especially when they're playing a sport that they love. It's always, no matter what sport it is, it's a sad thing to happen, but it is what it is. And like I said, I applaud Neal for fighting through it.
Yeah, that was well said. The neck guard thing, you're going to see a lot more players wearing it. Brian and I were watching the game together last night at his place in the background there, and I think you brought it up. You said, like, It's not even a matter of whether or not they want to wear it at this point. It's a matter of which one feels the most comfortable for them to wear. So players are just kind of figuring that out. Obviously, some players are still not going to wear it. TJ Oshie said they're grown men, can make their own decisions. Obviously, if you don't like the neck guard, you don't have to wear it. That's your call. But you're definitely going to see a lot more players wearing it in the future. Unless we have anything else, we can take a quick break and come back with some NHL storylines. There's a lot that's happened over the last week, and most notably the last 2 days with some Canadian teams. So stick around for that after a word from our sponsors.
It may be too early to start decorating for the holidays, but it's never too early to start your holiday shopping. Why not take care of it now before the crowds and packed calendars make shopping a total nightmare, especially when you can get some of the best deals of the season well before Black Friday. You can shop Raycon products now and save up to 50% off because their early Black Friday sale is going on right now. You've heard us talk about Raycon's products before, several times on this podcast, and Raycon made a name for themselves in the audio space. Their products like the Everyday Earbuds, known for delivering high quality and thoughtful features, just a 32-hour battery life and a perfect in-ear fit for all-day wear and lasting comfort. And this past year, they expanded their entire business with the introduction of Raycon Home and Raycon Power Tech. Their 5-star reviewed Magic 180 cable allows you to charge iOS, micro USB, and USB Type-C devices 8 times faster with 100-watt power delivery. Their faucet filter ultra filters the water in your tap against chlorine and heavy metals. It's a must-have for ensuring the water you use to wash your face and brush your teeth is, actually clean. Raycon is known for delivering high quality and thoughtful features at half the price of other premium tech brands. It's no wonder their products have racked up tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. To get everyone the holiday shopping spirit a bit early, Raycon is currently offering 20% off everything on their site, with select products up to 50% off. So beat the crowds and save now. Trust me, you do not want to miss out on Raycon's early Black Friday sale. Hurry now to buyraycon.com/THPN to get 20 or 50% off site-wide. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score up to 50% off Raycon products. Buyraycon.com/THPN. The NFL season is going strong, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking up new customers with an offer that's even stronger. Bet $5 on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener offer every game this October. Get in on the game day greatness. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet $5 on the NFL. That's code THPN, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 160 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
And welcome back into episode 53 of the Level Flight podcast. It's time to get into some NHL storylines. We brought this in last episode. I'm a big fan of it. I love talking about, the league, what's happening, and there's a lot that's happening this last week. I want to start with the biggest storyline. Everyone's talking about it. The Edmonton Oilers are 2-8-1 to start the season. They have 5 points. I think they're like the 31st team in the NHL behind only the Sharks, who we'll get into in a second. They won their first game last night. But the Oilers also put Jack Campbell on waivers yesterday. We are recording this today. He's going to clear waivers. Like, no one's going to claim a goaltender with $5 million.
I would hate for that to happen and someone pick him up, somebody random to
just
make it
bail
work.
Out the Oilers, I guess. Yeah, but no one's going to pick him up. And I just want to get your guys' thoughts on where the Oilers are at right now. That they were my cup pick out of the West. Like I had New Jersey over Edmonton, so I had them going to the final. I still do, I guess. Like I can't change my pick, but I can't go back in time. I wish I could, because yikes, they look awful. Elliot, what do you make of the Oilers' 31st place start through 12 games.
It's bad. It is horrifically bad. Now, obviously, we're still early enough in the season. There's enough time for them to catch back up, go on a hot streak, and kind of just go back to the Oilers we're used to seeing. But they've been pummeled by so many teams. It's at this point, it's kind of hard to say that they will turn it around. And obviously, McDavid missed some time, and it just doesn't seem like they're getting the same production from specific players. But the biggest thing, and you saw it with the move that they made with Jack Campbell getting sent down, they just need somebody to just sit in front of the net and stop something. Like, they need a save, and they can't get a save. And it sucks that, the Oilers make another decision in this current era I like to combine the Taylor Hall, Connor McDavid era all in one, because it's the same. It feels like all the same. They pick the wrong pieces. They sign the wrong players. They sign guys that have one spectacular season, like Jack Campbell. He had, was it 2 good years with the Leafs? 1 or 2 good years with the Leafs.
Yeah.
But it's like we've always said when we talk about the Jets goaltending prospects. Goalies are weird. Some years they're going to be really good. Other years they're like the puck's just not going to bounce their way. And it just seems like ever since Edmonton has signed Jack Campbell to that $5 million contract, that the puck just hasn't bounced his way.
Yeah.
So even before that, and it just doesn't seem like there's anybody in the system that the Oilers have that's going to get them a win by just making a couple stops. Because it's hard to win games when you're letting in so many goals, as we've seen as Connor Hellebuck has tried to get his form back, where the Jets have lost games because he hasn't been on his best, and the Jets lose. The Jets put up 3-4 goals and they lose 4-3 or 5-4, right? So it's a tough situation if you're Oilers fans, but that's what you get for dominating the 90s.
And 80s. Because you bring that up, I think no Jets fan is like Jets fans are probably the happiest, along with Flames fans, I guess, but they're also
the Flames are awful too. So
they'd love to be in the basement together.
I said without a doubt last episode that the Oilers are the Jets' biggest rival. So clearly that means something to some fans. The Jets 1.0 and 2.0. But they just can't get a save. I don't know if you have anything else to add, Brian. No. Yeah, we'll move on to the Sharks. They can't get a save. Stuart Skinner's got to play better. They can't. And McDavid hasn't looked the same, but whatever. Let's move on. The San Jose Sharks, more importantly than the Edmonton Oilers, won their first game last night. They beat the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1. I believe they just goalied the Flyers. I think the shots on goal were something crazy in the Flyers' favor.
Who was it net last night for the Sharks? Do we know?
No clue.
It
might have been Mackenzie Blackwood. Yeah. I think they just dominated the goaltending department and just found a way to win. Another storyline is the San Jose Sharks early to start this year might be a historically bad NHL team, given how they've started. They've just won their first game. That's can't go without stating.
Blackwood 38 saves on 39 shots for a .974 save percentage.
Yeah, that's how they're gonna win. New Jersey Devils prime Mackenzie Blackwood right there. Good game Mackenzie Blackwood. I don't know. It's bad. I'm not going to say it too loudly because sports organizations hate it, but so.
Oh my goodness. Are they going to move? Are they going to relocate? What do you guys think?
Man, we should really check their attendance numbers, because you know what? If they're low, oh no. We might be worried. We might be worried about 2 NHL teams relocating, because there's one playing in a 5,000 seat arena and the other one just hasn't been good in
the Jets should
a
be
long
worried.
while.
Not the Sharks or the Coyotes, but the Jets should.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a little mini rant. Let's move on to what other storylines do we have?
Sharks, mainly we were just gonna we might as well just do it's not the hockey storylines, it's the Pacific Division storylines.
Yeah.
The Vancouver Canucks are outperforming everyone's expectations. And I saw this yesterday where essentially kind of talking about the Oilers and the Canucks, where the Canucks at this point, you're a month into the season, They have banked so many points already that they could play average hockey and there's still a decent shot that they make the playoffs. The Oilers at this point are so far in a hole that they need to play incredible hockey just to actually get into like an actual playoff spot. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I agreed. Like, it's the Canucks are really interesting because I was looking at Money Puck, I was looking at some stats. Their expected goals, their Corsi, just not good, not where you'd think it would be. But here they are at, I think, 9-2-1. They beat the Oilers 3 times already. It's a heck of a start for the Vancouver Canucks, and honestly, good for them. They've them and their fans have been suffering the last couple of years. They deserve a good team. Elias Pettersson is super fun to watch. Same with Quinn Hughes. He might win the
They're
Norris.
just vibing.
They're just vibing. Yeah. And Thatcher Demko looks like a Vezina candidate. So they're looking really good. And speaking of Hughes brothers, last NHL storyline we want to touch on here. Jack Hughes is week to week with an upper body injury, which is a shame because he was probably on pace to win the Hart. He might still, like, if he only misses, I don't know, 8 games ish, he could still win the Hart. But if he misses a full 2 to 3 weeks of games, that could get dicey. But he was dominating the NHL before he got hurt. I don't know if you guys have anything to add on Jack Hughes, how good he was playing. And the Devils have been fine without him. I think they've won like 2 or 3 games without him.
They're still a good hockey team without them.
Yeah, similarly to the Oilers, though, they just need some saves to actually start winning games.
Yeah, and they're my other.
They could have traded for a specific goaltender, but they didn't want to pay the price. So
fair enough.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Well, and then that said goaltender is now signed an 8-year contract or 7-year contract. So they're not seeing it anytime soon.
Nope, not quite. Lastly, we do want to preview the upcoming schedule for the Jets. When you're hearing this, they're playing Thursday night tonight against the Nashville Predators. Nashville's been sneaky good this year. That should be a really good game at Canada Life Center. And then Saturday, they play another divisional opponent, Dallas Stars, 2 p.m. Game got pushed back because of what's behind me here. If you're on YouTube, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are taking on the BC Lions. West Final, IG Field, 5:30. I do want to talk about this Bomber game for a bit. I know Brian's going. I'm going as well. Elliot, I don't know if you're going.
I'll be watching. I won't be going, but I'll be watching both. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a crazy sports day in Winnipeg. And I don't think it'll actually be too cold for this game.
It's not supposed to be. The weather. Like, we're hovering somewhere between like 0 and 3.
Yeah, won't be like the what was that, the 2019
the Saskatchewan
West Final. Saskatchewan, that was absolutely miserable, but I had so much fun.
Yeah, I was freezing, but hey, they won and they beat Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I look fondly back at that game. That was a really ugly offensive game, but that was
and then I think it was it the Edmonton playoff game as well, like Winnipeg versus Edmonton in the
that was horribly underdressed.
Cold. Oh, goodness. Brian, come on. Got to layer up.
You got to know.
Yeah.
Got to look at the forecast.
But how are we feeling about this game and the Bombers' chances going in? Elliot, you go ahead.
I feel pretty good. I mean, like, you also have to feel good when you have a 2-time MOP, you have a running back who's in the conversation for MOP this season. You've got as much as they have been said as declining, you still have one of the best O-lines in the league. You've got an aging but still very skillful and clutch defense, because you know what, that Bombers defense could give up 30 points in the first 3 quarters and then we'll put up a 0 for the offense to go and score 1 touchdown and win the game, right? Like, I never, as much as there have been lots of more questions this year than any other season, and there will be probably next year if the same core stays together once more, I still feel pretty good about the Bombers going into any game, about their chance of winning. Obviously, BC is good. Vernon Adams has played really well this season. BC as a whole, they have a really good defense. Obviously, I'm still going to back the Bombers to win, but I think it's going to be a really, really fun game to watch. I do feel bad for the media members, that have to go to both events. But I also have to say, I feel bad for the fans that potentially could be going to both because that traffic's going to suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going
yeah.
anywhere that day. I'm not
Yeah.
going anywhere. I've
Sitting on the
already
couch.
said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I mean, I'll be sitting on the couch watching the Jets game and then heading to IG Field. I live quite close to IG Field, so
Must be
it's
nice.
not bad. It's not bad. Yeah.
You said you could see IG Field though. So
Yeah,
Brian
with
can see it.
binoculars. I'm not just
Anyways,
like
back to
looking
the-
down, like watching the game from my balcony.
Yeah.
hey, this is in Iowa, University of Iowa. That'd be pretty cool. But
Yeah.
Yeah, true. This game though, I do think the Bombers, like you said, Elliot, I like their chances in any game. I think it's going to be a lot closer. Like the spread for the game is not like the Bombers aren't favored by like 10 points. Like it's going to be it's projected to be a close game. But
what is the spread?
BC,
Do we know?
I think it's 4.5. Bombers are favored.
Okay.
And BC blows out the Bombers in Winnipeg earlier in the season. Then they come back and Winnipeg destroys them. And that game like isn't even close. Like Winnipeg's resting their starters in the fourth quarter. That's how bad that game was. And then their third game of the year, which I think is the most like indicative of what this game is going to be like in BC. BC should have had that game. Like they really should have won that game. They had it sealed up. Dominic Rhymes could have gone down when he caught that pass with 5 seconds left, and they could have just kicked a field goal for the win. There's a lot of things that led to BC possibly winning, but Winnipeg wins. That wrapped up the 1 seed basically from there on out. And it's interesting because the games earlier in the season don't matter. Like BC blew out Winnipeg in week like 3 or 4. That doesn't really matter at this stage in the year. It's that week 16 it was or 15 game that is really going to tell the story of what this game is going to look like. And I think it's going to be fun. I also think people are overselling the cold thing. Like, BC plays in a dome. Like, whatever. I don't think that's going to matter whatsoever. If it was minus 15, yeah, okay, BC might be affected.
We're hovering around freezing though. It's not that bad.
Well, here's my thing too. You also have to remember that some of these guys either A, played at smaller universities, and 2, some of them played at Midwest universities. So the cold, like some of these guys have. You look at a guy like Drew Wolodarski. Yes, I knew he plays for the Bombers, but he played for Minnesota in the Big Ten. Like there's university football in the States is. Yeah,
it's like any player on BC could have played at Minnesota and played outdoors in the cold, like I don't think it's really
UND, South Dakota State, like it doesn't matter. Like yes, it matters in the terms of the general terms of the game. If like when we mentioned the Saskatchewan game, like that game sucked because it was cold and the offense sucked because everyone was running the ball because you couldn't throw the ball, it was too cold, right? And there's fumbles all over the place because guys couldn't hold on to the football. It was turnover fest. This game, one, it's not that cold, and 2, these guys have played in conditions like this before, no matter how old they've been. So this isn't. It shouldn't be new to them.
I think like this is not a hot take. This is like the most amount you can fence it. But I think the better team is going to win. Like the conditions aren't going to have an effect. Like it's not going to be like
Magic Johnson.
Yeah, the better team's going to win. Yeah, what a take. No, but like what I'm saying is I don't think the conditions are going to give the worst team in this game some like crazy miracle where someone throws a pick 6 or fumbles at the end of the game or whatever, I just think whoever plays better is going to win. I know it sounds stupid, but stupid counter. That's one. We're back.
Your point still stands because it's not like it was the one of Canada's World Cup qualifying games in football where forget who they were playing. They were playing a team from down south and it was snowing in wherever they were playing. I think they were playing
they were playing Mexico in Commonwealth.
In Commonwealth
late November.
Yeah, and so obviously that the guys that were Canadian that had played through this weather before, I think they won 2-0, and Mexico looked terrible because they'd never practiced or played in the snow before because they're used to different weather, right? So that's completely different than this. These guys play in cold. Football is played at sometimes in cold conditions. Some of these guys have played all up from NFL all the way down to their Pee-wee football days in the cold. Like this shouldn't be new for them.
Yeah, I agree. Outside of that, I think we're we're good to go. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
That
it's gonna
wraps
be a
it up.
busy weekend. It's gonna be fun.
We'll have a lot to
Busy
talk
week.
about
Yeah.
next week.
I'm hyped. Might be a long episode next week.
Are
I'm
we gonna
looking
have
forward to it.
are we gonna have a bomber rant at some point during the episode? Probably.
Who knows?
Hopefully not
But-
a rant. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. Make sure you check out Level Flight WPG on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you go to social media, and make sure you subscribe on YouTube. We're really happy with the rebrand, the support we've gotten. So go check it out. Leave your thoughts on the logo. And yeah, thank you everyone for listening. We will see you next week with a big episode recapping the Bomber game and 3 Jets games, with the Predators, Stars, and the Devils on the Tuesday night, probably without Jack Hughes. So that's something to monitor. Make sure you check us out next week. And from Brian, Elliott, and myself, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Go Jets.